Hi, my name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guest Yulia Brodskaya. Living close to London, Yulia is a highly accomplished paper artist and illustrator, known for her elegant handmade and detailed paper illustrations. During the program, we'll be learning why and how Yulia's interest in the art form of paper quilling came about. We'll view and discuss some of her stunning artwork, and in the process, come to better understand or appreciate how she goes about creating her unique and captivating paper paintings. Let's start by meeting Yulia and then hear all about, as well as enjoy, some of her outstanding artistry. Welcome, Yulia. So delighted you're able to be here.
Pleasure to talk to you.
It's been fascinating reading about you and your work. I'm eager to hear more and have you inform viewers. Before we jump right to that, I think it would be of interest if you'd briefly share just a little bit more about your background, your artistic interest, and a little bit how you've evolved over time.
Well, I was born in Moscow, early 80s, and I've been making art in one form or another for as long as I can remember. When my parents sent me to an evening art school from age of 5, so twice a week for 10 years, I think, I was doing art. I wasn't like amazingly good at it, but I did enjoy it. And as a family, we kind of decided that I should pursue a career in art. But my parents believe that there's no like proper way to make a living doing just art. So they advised that I become a graphic designer.
Mm,
So that's what I did. Basically, I listened to my parents. And I spent like the next 5 years in one of the Moscow universities trying to learn graphic design. But in reality, the Russia was so far behind those years in terms
mm,
of like advertising, what the graphic design is. So I spent 5 years learning how to paint, how to draw, some composition skills, but no practical skills how to actually do a proper job as a designer. So that's why, again, as a family, we decided I should go and study in the United Kingdom.
mm,
So that's where I ended up. Well, as soon as I arrived, it was like a super creative buzz in the air. I felt a huge difference. Just,
mm.
I don't know, like I moved not just in space, but also in time. Like, I don't know, I moved to like a future place. And so kind of um, dived into this atmosphere environment. I studied graphic design, but during those couple years, I realized that I don't want to be a graphic designer, but instead, I want to be an illustrator. So I
Mm,
began like searching for my own unique style as an illustrator. I tried different things. Just one thing that was kind of my continuous interest from those graphic design days was my interest in typography and illustrating letters. So that's what I focused, and I wanted to like find jobs, to illustrate letters, and I created a few samples, my hand-drawn samples, and started to send them out to potential clients. It would be like magazines, newspapers, and the only thing I needed was an original way to illustrate my name for the cover. Because my idea was to do like a little booklet with my work samples. So I needed like to put my name on the cover in my unique
mhm.
style. And I tried a few hand-drawn versions and nothing was working until at some point I decided to take a sheet of paper, cut it into strips, and recreate the outlines of my the letters of my name with paper strips, and this is became like a starting point of my career as a paper artist. Just from that point on, I realized that this is something completely new. I dropped the hand-drawn booklet idea, and instead I just started experimenting with strips of paper. The thing is, I didn't know anything about quilling, and because kind of I reinvented it for myself, but
Mm,
because I didn't know what it is, how to do it properly, the way I started using it was different straight away. I used very heavy paper instead of like really thin one that you use for traditional quilling. And because of that, I was able to use strips of paper in a totally new way. Like I would imitate the drawn lines with
mm,
this edge glued strips of paper.
mhm.
So it's like as if I'm drawing, I don't know, in a third dimension. So my first artworks were all based on typography, and this is how kind of my work became known. Because at some point, one of the art directors of the British newspaper found my work, and he offered me like my very first commercial project, which I created, and it got the ball rolling. Because after it became popular on the internet, people told me that what I'm doing is a form of quilling. So it kind of okay. I realized that now I belong in this world of paper.
Well, you not only belong, but you're one of the leading figures now in paper quilling. And we're fortunate you provided us with some wonderful images that we're going to take advantage to look at right now. This first one here is a piece you call Seeing. Could you share a little bit about the inspiration behind this? And then there's a wonderful video clip that shows a little of you working on it.
But it was, I think, second artwork of this scale that I kind of gained enough confidence to
Mm.
actually attempt. Because in general, the quilling and this type of edge glued paper art is a very, very compact art form. When I was starting, I would use, I don't know, A3 or maybe A2 format for my artworks. And this is for me was like entering a completely new universe. So I had to find ways to adjust my style to be able to create something that large with the techniques that I use. In terms of inspiration, I found the photo of this woman, and there was like something in the eyes
Yeah.
that I kind of wanted to recreate in paper. And I always have this goal. I mean, if there's something that like touches my heart on the photo or on the reference, I always intend to recreate and bring it forth in my artworks. But I mean, it never guaranteed. All I can do is just to do my best, and like one little three-dimensional brushstroke at a time, one little element at a time, just build this, the face, the features, the eyes, and just hope that somehow this soul will shine through the eyes and through the whole artwork. So that's, I think that's one of the reason I called it Seeing.
Oh, very appropriate indeed. Well, let's enjoy this little clip of you assembling it, and we can watch it. Feel free to add any commentary if you choose, and then we'll continue our conversation.
Yeah, the process is really, really slow. I mean, I have to create every single element, and then I dip it into glue. I put it in place. Sometimes I have to hold it to wait till glue dries. And yeah, you can see the clips. I use them to free my hands from the need to hold every single element like all the time.
The intricate detail is fascinating to see up close.
Yeah, kind of I try to. It's a challenging process because the mind keeps telling me that, oh, the process is so slow, it's taking so long, will it be worth it? And kind of I have to try to stay in the process, to have faith, then yes, it will worth it in the end. But it happens with every single artwork. In the beginning, I'm usually really excited to create something out of paper. So I'm starting with enthusiasm. I move like with excitement, and probably by the middle of the creative process, I get exhausted because usually the artwork doesn't look really good in the middle. It's
Mm,
a three-dimensional kind of low relief type of art, so there will be light coming and sometimes the shadows will be weird. So until I complete and finish the areas to ensure, I mean, all the shadows work fine, there are no weird gaps, things can just don't look good in general. So I learned to have this kind of trust that I just have to push through and keep going, and in the end it will be okay. But still, this process in the middle, it's a bit of a struggle. But towards the end, when I already see that, um, yes, it's actually starting to look good, and sometimes better than I anticipated
mm.
during the sketching stage, then yes, I get like a second, what's it called, second breath.
Understand, understand. Do you
Yeah.
have a clear sense at the beginning of all the colors you're going to use and the materials and where they're going to go, or does that also evolve through the production?
It's a little bit of both, and depends on the project. If
Mm,
I'm working from a photo, for instance, then I can use the color palette and try to recreate what I see on the actual photo. But this is the it's not a painting. Everything is very schematic with this technique. Even if it looks like realistic, if you look closer, it's all made of either circles or little like tight packs of paper strips. So there's still a lot of decorative and schematic aspects to the work. So it's
mm,
not possible for me to like recreate something precisely, and I don't think it's needed as well, because
mhm.
by using those elements and those little tricks and techniques, I make something more unique than I don't know than
Mhm.
what the reference is, how to say.
Well, let's move on to another captivating piece, simply amazing, one you call Phoenix. Just a little bit about the inspiration for this piece of work.
I think, well, the thing is, I didn't have like an idea that would be shaped as formed as some, I don't know, like I don't know, ready to go mental idea that this is about that.
Mm,
I, again, I found a photo of a girl which had like amazing light reflections. There was like a light source somewhere on her side, and those like warm, yellowy, orangey, like reflection from the fire, kind of being seen on her cheek, on her jawline. And I think this was kind of made me think of what can cause this kind of reflection of light. It can be something more interesting than, I don't know, a light bulb or a candle. So I thought it could be Phoenix.
mm.
It's just some very, I don't know, powerful, I don't know, strong energy that breathes fire kind of into her and invokes, I don't know, more power in this woman.
Yeah, energy is a great word. I really feel that type of intensity throughout it. As with seeing, let's enjoy short video that you've shared Take us a little through the process, please.
Once again, lots of detail in this one as well, especially the phoenix. I raised it like slightly higher than the rest of the face because I wanted to add even more significance to the bird. I used some unusual kind of elements that I've never tried before. For instance, I don't know if the video will show it, but I placed like more elements on the sides of the phoenix, and this again, the fire is something I oh, sorry. I'm not good with commentating. I think I get kind of too much into what I'm doing. I can't even narrate properly. Sorry. Yeah, and then as a last touch, I did add this like message to the side of the paper.
Mm. What
I
detail?
think watching it brings me back into the process, but not in a way that I can describe it properly. I'm just kind of I watch it and I played back. I remember how I was making every element.
Now, it's incredible. We're gonna share some other work as we're going through it. Just share a little bit. How have you developed over time as an artist, a paper painter, using quilling?
I think the key evolution was my transition from commercial projects, which was all about typography, to the techniques of painting with paper. So painting with paper is like what you can see in those images. It's basically imitating brush strokes with
Yeah.
strips of paper, but with the quality of 3 dimension added to it. So it's like physical brush strokes in a way. And the way I create them is I take strips of different colors and I bend them together. And in a way, it's similar to mixing paints on a palette. Like, for instance, if a painter will mix red and yellow paint, he'll get or she will get an orange paint. And the principle how I'm doing it is similar. I will take a yellow strip of paper and red strip of paper and bend them together, and I'll get something that will look like an orange
Mhm.
color, but of course it won't be like a real blend that you'll get if you mix paint. It will be more like an optical illusion.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at for a certain distance, I can no longer distinguish the individual layers of colors, but instead will perceive it as a one unifying color, which will be like in the middle between the two original.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
no.
I mean, this method really helps to deal with the issue that y- of not having enough colors on your palette, because as paper artists, we're usually limited to the like paper that you can buy in a
Mm.
shop. So I can't have all the possible color variation that I would like to have. But being able to mix the colors in this way really helped me to kind of to push my artworks in a more like I don't know impressionist direction. I really enjoyed working with colors, and kind of this painting with paper method helps me to kind of to push it even more into the like 3 dimensional painting realm.
What do you hope viewers appreciate about your work?
Well, I think definitely the multiverse of all the details,
Mm,
but at the same time, how they all work like harmoniously together and in balance to create one whole image. I mean, when you see something from a distance, you perceive it, I don't know, as a one kind of emotion or energy or something, but then you can actually go deeper and start, I don't know, exploring how things are made. And I think I like for people to have this kind of journeys from like from a distance and experiencing as a like macro, like a cosmos, and then going into the micro universe
mm.
to see how many little tiny things are forming this, one universe.
What are some of your thoughts when you look back from your early career to where you are now and how you've developed into this virtuoso with paper quilling and what you're able to produce? How do you take in the whole evolution of your career over time and where you are now?
Well, it makes me excited to to see what's possible next. Because when I was just started working with paper, I thought, okay, maybe I'll do it for 1 year, 2 years, and then I mean the technique and the material will just exhaust itself, and or I'll get bored or something. But then year after year, and the decade, and the 15 years, and I'm just more and more interested to explore further, to experiment more, try new things. I mean, the only thing, it is time consuming. So I have a long list of ideas and
Hmm.
plans what I'd like to do next, but it doesn't get boring, and I'm excited. I mean, where else it can take me.
And in addition to people, you also include animals, nature as well in your overall artwork.
Yeah, I like to alternate like people with flowers, birds, some natural elements. And people are like the most challenging subject matter for me. It takes like the most presence, the
Hmm.
most effort. So usually after like large projects like that, I need some
Hmm.
rest. And for me, the best way to have a rest is actually create something small and something inspired by nature. That's why I like move from nature to people. Sometimes I combine both.
Hmm. Hmm. These colors here are amazing. What a piece you've put together here. I think you title it Black Zebras.
Yeah, because of the background. Because I also
Mm,
have a white version.
just wonderful, just wonderful. And here's some of the nature that you mentioned. What's been some of the reaction and feedback you've gotten from the art world, from collectors of your work?
Well, it's overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really blessed in this way. And usually, when I share artworks on social media, well, people really like it. But if someone gets to see them in real life, the effect is so much stronger because you get to experience kind of it from different angles with different lighting, and everything really affects how you perceive
Mm,
the artwork. Light plays a really big role. I mean, when I create my artworks, I try to use the daylight, so the natural light as much as possible. It kind of gives me some like natural, natural environment. But then if I, for instance, uh, experience the same artwork in the evening, or when there's a, you know, the sun is going down and the light is like, oh, has orangey tones. Everything affects the artwork. Shadows change, how long the shadows from the papers are. So you don't think about these things with the 2D flat artworks, but in this case, it becomes like a thing to consider and experience. It enhances, the experience, in my opinion.
For sure, for sure. I know you've also written an incredibly well-received book in the field, Painting with Paper. What's some of the advice you might give others who are interested in exploring the art of paper quilling?
I think the main advice that I usually give is to enjoy the process, because I don't know, I really don't see the right or wrong way
Mm,
to do art. And one thing is for sure, if you choose to work with paper and especially quilling and the techniques that I use, it means you have to have lots of patience and it can become a torture if you don't enjoy the process. So whatever it is, any way you do it, I think being playful, having fun, experimenting, not being afraid to make a wrong step, create a mistake is the main thing. I mean, if you enjoy it, if you practice and keep going, eventually, I don't know, it becomes better and better.
And I think getting back to one of your earlier comments, to have the perseverance, especially during that middle part of the process where it might not be coming out as you would hope, to persevere and take your time and make it through the end. And more often than not, you'll have a product you'll be pleased with, it sounds like.
Yeah, you always learn something this way or the other. Because nothing is in vain.
Well, Yulia, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the program. Want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here. It's really been truly fascinating. I know we'll have some of your contact information in the credits for viewers who want to keep in touch, stay informed about your work. And for now, just want to say continued success with all your future endeavors. And thanks again for your time.
Thank you so much, Jay. Pleasure.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.